See, this is you all over with your elitist fucking scumbag gamer attitude.
This podcast contains graphic descriptions that some listeners may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised. Now, with that being said, welcome to the Mortal Musings podcast.
Right, let's do this.
It's something we've discussed at great length, this, isn't it, Neil?
It is.
Whether you're a Xbox controller type of person.
Knobhead.
Yes. Or a PS controller. Or,
Legend.
Yes. Or maybe you prefer a mouse. Maybe you're just purely PC gamer.
Yeah, so even...
We're not going into this of like Nintendo Switch controller. I do use it, but I'm not happy about it. I'm going to be getting a PS controller for it.
Well, even when I went from PlayStation to PC,
yeah,
I still had to use a controller.
Yes.
I can't use a mouse and keyboard.
I was brought up this way. It's not my fault.
I was getting destroyed.
Yeah.
In anything I played.
Xbox controllers are too big.
Yeah, I have to use an Xbox controller now because you can't get a PlayStation controller to connect to a laptop. You can only use Xbox.
There will be...
It's Microsoft.
There will be someone that's done like a replica version somewhere. We'll have to find, you know?
We can do, but like...
It's that fucking Microsoft.
See, I miss the days when I was on PlayStation. I was a little bit of a tryhard.
Well, a little bit.
So, I don't know if anyone can remember a company called Scuff. I don't know if they're still going, but I ordered a custom controller and it had paddles on the back.
Mm.
What would be wired to certain buttons, you could set them to certain buttons. And there was like extra grip on the
Yeah, it was like gritty, wasn't it?
On the controller.
Yeah, wasn't the back of it kind of like a grittier material?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good controller, that.
Yeah.
But I've broke quite a few controllers in my day.
Well, that's just ridiculous. You need to control yourself.
So we have some shout outs.
We do indeed.
We have two new patrons. So first one we have Johnny Boy, John Boy,
John,
Rubber Johnny. Is that everything? Jonathan.
I
think Rubber Johnny. We'll stick with Rubber Johnny.
Johnny Cash.
What?
What?
That's not a nickname.
I'm trying to think of anything I can do here. John's a good one. There's a lot of variety with that name.
Yeah. But we'll stick with Rubber Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Rubber Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the support. And then what's the next one you've got?
Robin. Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
That was fucking jarring. I was not expecting you to do that. What the fuck? So, yeah, thank you very much, John and Robin. We appreciate you.
Yeah, keeps us going. Keeps the boat afloat.
Does indeed. It's not rocking like Robin. Huh? See that? See how I did that? It was very clever. Did you catch it?
So, yeah, after... I thought last week's episode was...
an interesting one.
Yeah. So, the bar's raised a bit now.
Oh.
So, what have you got for us today?
Don't you put pressure on me. Today, we're going to be covering the abduction and murder of Venus Stewart.
Venus? Didn't we cover her?
No. We covered Venus Extravaganza.
Okay.
This is Venus Stewart.
Okay. I didn't know Venus were a fucking common name.
I didn't. Maybe it's not. Maybe we're just covering the two people called Venus.
Is she from Alaska?
No.
Okay.
No. Venus Rose Stewart was from St. Joseph's County in Michigan. She was described as sweet, if not maybe a bit too naive. Her parents, Larry and Therese McComb, recalled when she was younger, and she had met someone new. Now, she had told her parents that the new guy on the scene had confided in her that he was in the mafia.
What?
Yeah. Her parents are basically like, Venus, come on. But like a bit naive, trusting of people.
Yeah.
They would later find out that he actually worked at McDonald's.
It's a bit different.
a little bit of a fib. Venus was smart and articulate, graduating from college with a degree in criminal justice.
But she's smart, but she believes someone who works in McDonald's was part of the mafia.
Clearly very intelligent, but yeah, wanted to see the best in people, wanted to believe that they were telling the truth. She had hoped to go into law enforcement, but she decided against this after realising that she didn't
Good fucking shout.
Well, she decided against it after she had realised that she didn't actually feel too comfortable around firearms, which, fair enough.
Yeah.
When Venus met her soon-to-be husband, a Marine by the name of Doug Stewart, it was a whirlwind kind of romance. And I do mean soon-to-be. They married after 4 days.
4 days?
4 days, yeah. Doug hadn't actually met her family until after they were married. To say her parents were shocked was an understatement. It just wasn't like her to do something so impulsive. But the couple seemed happy, and her brother Dustin in particular got on really well with his new brother-in-law.
Enough to keep any marriage going.
In 2003, a year into their marriage, Doug left the Marines. The couple would soon welcome 2 children, 2 daughters. This was something that Venus had always wanted. She'd always hoped to become a mother.
But Doug didn't.
Well, I don't know. I assume he did.
What, wanted to be a mother?
Well, I assume a father, but I mean, I don't know him personally. I don't know. Now married with 2 kids, Venus also had a good job, working in a bank. And after leaving the Marines, Doug started a job at Applebee's.
Applebee's, that's petrol station, isn't it?
No, it's...
Oh no, it's Apple Greens.
Yeah. Applebee's is like it's a food place. I think it's like more pancakes and stuff like that. I don't know, we don't have it over here.
Oh.
They decided that for the time being, Doug would stay home with the kids and Venus would continue to work as she was on the higher wage. Now, something that the couple both enjoyed and bonded over was gaming. See why I picked that a little intro for the episode?
Bit like me and thee, innit?
Yeah, that was our bonding experience, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Unlike yourself, Neil, Doug preferred shooters and Venus was more into a good puzzle type of game.
But that's not a game.
Of course it's a game.
No, it's not.
How is it not a game? See, this is you all over with your elitist fucking scumbag gamer attitude. A game's a game, right? She can play whatever the fuck she wants.
Who the fuck gets a PlayStation, yeah, and sits there with headset on, gets the controller and it's like, let's play Scrabble?
Well, the thing is, neither of us would get on with these two because they were an Xbox household.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, as you can tell from the tensions rising within our conversation, gaming started to become a source of tension in their marriage. Doug would become very engrossed in video games and had pretty much given up on looking for a new job at this point.
He's taking a time out to find himself.
To find himself, yeah. Well, the problem is, Doug was just displaying too much immaturity for the life he had, that of a father and a husband, and it took a toll on their relationship. Arguments became more commonplace in the home.
Don't try and control me, Doug.
Which would lead to trial separations, even filing for divorce in 2008.
Over gaming?
Not just gaming, there was a lot of other stuff. But that was kind of the main thing. He would spend so much time sat on his arse while she's working, got the kids, you know what I mean?
Mm.
But after having some time apart to think, Venus realised that she didn't want to end their marriage. And she proposed a fresh start for the family. She wanted to move to either Virginia, Florida, or Texas. And in 2009, they settled on Virginia and made the move. Now, while there, everything seemed to be going good. And Doug had found a new job as a truck driver.
Can't game while doing that.
You absolutely cannot.
But you could get into it's big at the minute, trucking simulator.
Yes, but you know what you can do as a truck driver? Just fuck on a podcast there. Work away. I suggest Mortal Musings, but you know. Unfortunately, after a year, cracks started to appear in the relationship. There was just too many issues, including accusations and police reports, detailing abuse, threats to take their children, and constantly harassing Venus for sex.
Police did?
No, Doug was. She had detailed this in the
Okay.
police reports. Quote, "I'm scared to death, and every day I live in constant fear, and I'm constantly looking over my shoulder wondering when he will appear again." In February of 2010, Venus obtained an order of protection. She was fearful that he would one day follow through on his threats. She left with her kids and went back to Michigan to live with her parents. 2 months later, on the 26th of April 2010, it's a Monday morning. Venus's mother has already left the house at 6 a.m. for work. Her father is asleep after working a late shift. At about 8 p.m, Venus's father awoke to the sound of his grandkids. He was surprised to hear them because Venus knew he'd been up late working and she would have tried to keep the noise to a minimum. He gets up to check what's going on and that everything is okay. But Venus is nowhere to be found. He heads outside and he notices that there are some scuff marks in the gravel and her hair tie is laid on the ground nearby.
Scuff marks like
From
it'd be a
kicking.
heels.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like drag marks.
It could have been. Like you said, whether it was a kick or like the heel dragged across it.
Okay.
The gravel was fucked. Her car is also still parked outside. He tries to call her, but there's no answer. Larry is really starting to feel uneasy now, so he calls the police. Although families would usually be advised to wait 24 to 48 hours.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, the officer on scene, he said that he could just feel that something has gone on here.
Yeah.
On the property, they find the packaging for a tarp thrown in the yard. They were able to lift a fingerprint from the packaging, and they are able to trace it back to a Walmart, but not which specific Walmart.
Oh, really?
Mm.
So I thought they always would.
I would have thought so, but don't worry, we'll find out more. More on that to come. Her parents immediately suspect that Doug is responsible. The officer on scene recalled her mother, Therese, being incredibly upset and repeatedly saying, "He took her, he took her." They tell police of how they'd been arguing over the kids, and that only a week previous, Venus had won custody of their 2 daughters, while Doug was granted phone access. So, like we mentioned, Venus's parents were very suspicious as to what part Doug had to play in this. They were continuously calling him, but he would never answer. That night, the detective was able to get in contact with him. He tells the detective that he had been in Virginia all day. His alibi was that he had been at his lawyer's office that day. And although his lawyer was not there at the time to confirm his story, there was 2 secretaries at his office who would confirm that he had come in that day and made a payment.
So what sort of a trek is it, Michigan to Virginia? Okay, to drive, it's nearly 13 hours. 272 hours to walk, 79 hours to use a bicycle.
So if Doug is making this trip, there's some premeditation. You're not just dropping and going, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, Doug's alibi, this wasn't good enough for Larry. He was convinced that it had to have been Doug. So he got in his car with his gun and went searching for him. He didn't have any luck finding him. When the reporting officer talked to the detective, they were immediately thinking there's foul play here. The police started looking into the couple's history to find that the authorities had been involved many times before for domestic violence. And the reports came from both Doug and Venus. It seems that Venus would file a petition for a personal protection order, and then Doug would file one in some sort of retaliation. Or he would object to her allegations and then accuse her of abuse. Just a twisted little shitbag, it seems. So, from one of the petitions, Venus wrote, quote, "Once Doug loses control over me, he's going to hunt me down and kill me. If he finds out where I am at, he's going to kill me. It's only a matter of time." Now, like I said, Venus's brother, he got on with Doug, and I'm sure he wanted to see the best in him. He was aware there was issues, but I think he didn't believe he would ever take it this far. Her brother believed that Doug had maybe taken Venus in an effort to try and convince her to get back together. you know, because she didn't have any contact with him.
Yeah.
She thought he had just gone to, he thought he had just gone to an extreme to speak to her. But he did genuinely believe that although he was trying to manipulate her, eventually Venus would be back and this would all be over.
Yeah. I don't think that's the case.
No, and neither were police. They were not so optimistic about this. Police were beginning to search for a body. Their search included helicopters, dogs, and also searching the lake.
Well, what did her brother think the tarp was for?
Well, this is what I mean. I think, you know, like we said about Venus was kind of naive. I think he was, whether he was consciously doing this or not, we're going to have her back. It's not going to be the finality of she is gone.
Yeah.
I'd like to think anyway. So to do with Doug's alibi, police were very sus about this. They're kind of thinking, okay, maybe Doug didn't carry out the crime himself, but what's stopping him from hiring someone to take Venus?
You could say that on any case. You know, the amount of times, you know, right, they suspect him, but he has an alibi. They never go to the extreme of, well, even though he was somewhere else, he hired someone else to do it. They always go, right, he's got an alibi.
Yeah, I mean, it's very sus, and you've got the history of the abuse. So I mean, he's the husband as well. You always go straight to the husband, don't you?
Yeah.
You know? The only thing that's really fucking them up is the distance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They were also receiving eyewitness reports. One call they received stated there had been a sketchy looking guy who was soaking wet down by the lake the night before she'd been taken. Doesn't really mean anything. It's a little bit odd, but it's not really.
Gone for a dip.
Gone for a dip. Now, Douglas, he had his own theory as to what had happened to Venus. Doug said that he wasn't upset and that he thinks she had simply, quote, pulled a fast one. That she couldn't handle raising kids on her own. He thought it was no different to when she had left him and took the kids.
Take it the kids haven't gone to him?
No.
Okay.
He had actually tried to report her missing the 2 months earlier when she left to go to Michigan with the kids.
Right.
But police had told him at that time that there was no need. They knew where she was, as she had already been in contact when she filed a complaint against him. You see, she left with the kids because it was basically, I have to physically get away from him. It was actually because the police refused to take her complaint seriously that Venus made the decision to leave and head back to Michigan. By May, authorities in Michigan and Virginia decided to team up and speak with Doug. Of course, they didn't tell him that they were from Michigan. That would have, you know, he would have started to kind of get his back up, and if he had even a notion that he was a suspect rather than we need information from the husband, he would have just shut down or called his lawyer. So they go to his house and they listen to Doug's side of the story. And after they've listened to him just shite on, paint his warped version of her, they produce a search warrant. They seize his laptop and they also search his truck. So what do you think they find in his truck?
Not a tarp.
They don't find the tarp, but they do find a receipt for a tarp, shovel, hat and gloves, all purchased at Walmart.
But again, it doesn't say which Walmart.
Oh no, we'll get to it. They've got the receipt now. They're able to narrow it down.
Okay.
Detectives actually thought that they were kidding when they said they found this. It was too obvious. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the thing is, his truck was a fucking kip. There was rubbish everywhere. He'd obviously just thrown it amongst the rest of the shite and forgotten about it.
Yeah.
They were able to determine that the Walmart in question was located in Van Wert, Ohio, which was on the direct route that Doug would have taken between Virginia and Michigan. By now, family and friends were now doing their own independent searches, organised by Venus's Aunt Mary. Her aunt was also said to have kept a shovel in her car, so even if she wasn't out on a search, if she ever got a call, she was ready to go. They were convinced, she's gone, he's done this.
Yeah. Which it is usually the opposite. It's usually they bury their head in the sand, in denial, and they'll be like, she'll be back. She'll be back.
Well, do you remember our oddity? 70 years he was missing.
Oh, yeah.
A month has now passed since Venus had gone missing. and Doug decides it's now time to move out of Virginia and back to Michigan.
He's gone back to Michigan now.
Yes, he has. In somewhat of a rush, it seems as well. The manager of the apartment that Doug had just left in Virginia contacted Venus's parents and told them that Doug had left behind family photos, the kids' toys, many personal belongings.
Yeah.
They offered to send them to Venus's family, but her father decided to make the trip down and collect them himself.
So he could snoop while
Exactly.
he's there.
Good man, Larry.
Yeah.
If nothing else, it seems odd to me. Why would you leave the kids' toys there? Even if, like, let's say he couldn't face looking at the family pictures.
Mm-hmm.
The kids' toys. Surely you'd make an effort to bring the kids their personal belongings, especially at a time like this when their mother is missing. Now, they're only 3 and 5 at the time. They need all the comfort and familiarity that they can get. Around this time, the prosecutor is now wanting to charge Doug. It's not looking great for him.
Yeah.
But they decide to hold back and figure out a few things first. Make sure they can really lock this in. The biggest piece of the puzzle that they just couldn't figure out was, with Doug having a seemingly sound alibi, who else had Doug involved if he was still in Virginia?
The brother.
Oh, it could have been. They couldn't quite figure it out. Also around this time...
Is this where you're going to say they weren't mates, they were lovers?
No.
Oh, so fucking funny.
Also around this time, Doug made the decision to bring his in-laws to court and fight for custody of his 2 daughters. I don't know if it's necessarily the best move while their own daughter, the kid's mother, is still missing.
Yeah.
But during the custody hearing, there was no shortage of protesters due to their suspicions as to Doug's involvement.
Watch him have said something fucking stupid. It'd been like, well, she's not coming back.
Yeah.
She's gone.
Well, at the hearing, Larry, Venus's father, he couldn't help himself. He turned to Doug and said, quote, "Murdered anybody lately?" He was just like, the sight of this fucking guy, you know? Which, I have to be honest with you, I think Doug got off lightly. I think a hell of a lot of other people would have just swung on him straight away.
Mm.
The next hearing was scheduled for 3 weeks' time. Between hearings, Doug was denied visitation. The police are scrambling at this point to find more evidence against Doug. They need something before the next custody hearing. They do not want him having access to these children.
Good fucking shout.
They're really trying to either debunk his alibi or find this mystery person that Doug had brought in.
Yeah.
So they head to Doug's lawyers to ask a few questions. They had 2 theories that they were working with. Either Doug had some form of a relationship with one of the women working, at the lawyers, who was willing to lie for him, or that he had sent someone there to pose as him. So the lawyers had already been questioned by the FBI, but it was very kind of simple line of questioning.
Yeah.
Did Doug Stewart show up on this day and did he make a payment? They got their answer that yes, he did, and that was kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out it wasn't Doug. It was just some fucking guy who would come in with a hood up, mirrored aviator glasses. You couldn't get much more suspicious.
Yeah.
I often show up to my lawyers dressed in a similar manner.
Yeah. Why didn't he go all out and have, the glasses with a fake nose and the tash? Why aren't they saying to Douglas, where's the tarp? Where's the shovel?
You would think. So, at least they know his alibi is a load of shit.
Yeah.
But now they've got to figure out who this fucking jackass is posing as Douglas.
Yeah.
So they get their hands on Doug's phone records. And they see that he is making between 7 and 15 calls a day to the same number. They also notice that there was no activities on the phone records between the day before Venus went missing and the following night. And then after that, the contact starts up again as normal.
Mm-hmm.
So who's on the other end of these calls? The phone number was traced to a man named Ricky Spencer, a 20-year-old college student who lived with his parents in Delaware.
So it's a boy, not a man.
A young fella, yeah. Little lad. So with Doug's story starting to unravel and a new fella on the scene, I think that's a good place to wrap up for part 1.
Prick.
Yeah. Me or Doug?
You always do this.
I do, don't I? Not fucking right.
I just love how her parents are just so level-headed about it all.
What do you mean?
Well, they're like, doesn't look good. Like, as soon as I'd seen the tarp thing, I'd be like, she's gone.
They know she's gone.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They were so level-headed. Straight away, they were like, right, she's gone, but I know he's got something to do with it, so I'm fucking concentrating on that.
Well, the bit where Larry goes out in his truck with his gun.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine if he had got his hands on Doug? That would have been it.
Well, he wouldn't have got his hands on him, would he? He'd have shot him.
He would have got his gun on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Can't wait to fucking hear the rest of it. So let's get the oddity done.
Right, well, I thought for an oddity we'd talk about how kangaroos are dangerous bastards. And this oddity was triggered by a conversation that we had the other day, if you remember, Neil.
I do, and I stand by it.
So I've mentioned it before. Kangaroos scare the shite out of me.
Yeah.
And the other day, Neil and I watched a video of a kangaroo thinking he was 10 men, and he was basically trying to kick the legs out from underneath some guy.
Yeah.
3 people in total.
Started on a woman at first.
Yes.
So the guy stepped in.
Mm-hmm.
And then for some reason, some scrawny little twat bag came over. And he started thinking he was going to do something.
Mm-hmm.
The kangaroo pretty much ignored him.
Yeah, he honed in on this guy.
Yeah.
There's something about that man that he was like, fuck you in it.
Yeah.
Your legs are gone. So, of course, I went on a rant about how much they freak me out. And I started looking into different breeds of kangaroos. Which are the tallest, heaviest, basically which ones are going to terrify me the most.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to tell you is I am now an expert on kangaroos. No, but, in seriousness, what annoyed me about this conversation, I was trying to explain to Neil how fucking big these bastards can be. In particular, the red kangaroo.
Yeah.
If any of you guys remember, there was a kangaroo going around the internet and he was fucking jacked. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. His name was Roger, for anyone who doesn't know, if you're interested in looking him up, and he won a few nightmares. Anyway, Neil told me that he was confident that he could beat a kangaroo in a fight. To which my response was, firstly, shut the fuck up and no.
I stand by it. I know how handy my right hook is. I would knock a kangaroo out.
Well, that leads me to my second point. Why the fuck would you want to fight an animal?
I don't want to. It's the same as I don't want to kick a dog. But if it's going to viciously attack me, I will kick the shit out of it.
Mm.
It's self-defense. It stands in court.
Yeah, but you seem almost excited at the thought of boxing a kangaroo because, they're known for...
No, but you're amping me up because...
I'm amping you up.
You're amping me up because you're making it a, challenge accepted sort of thing. But I
You don't have to accept it, and I wasn't challenging you.
Obviously, I don't know 100% if one hit would be enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I am fairly confident that I would knock out a kangaroo.
I'm fairly confident. Right, well, anyway, that's the backstory of the oddity, really, here.
Okay.
What all of this is leading to is that I felt the need to look into how many deaths by kangaroo there's been. And
Not many.
It turns out not a lot. Not a fucking lot. I was stunned at the lack of deaths.
Yeah. It'd be more car crashes from swerving.
Hell of a lot of incidents.
Yeah.
Hell of a lot of injuries from kangaroos. But actual deaths, in the last 100 years, there's only been 2 deaths in Australia caused by kangaroos. How does that grab you? What were you thinking?
About that?
About 2 in the last 100 years. So, more recently, in 2022, a 72-year-old man was seriously injured in his home by a kangaroo. The kangaroo was shot dead as his aggressive behaviour was preventing the paramedics from attending to the man, who would also die at the scene.
Who do you think could win in a fight? A chimp or a kangaroo?
Well, it's funny you say that because that's immediately where my mind went. This is chimp crazy all over again.
Yeah.
A chimp.
A chimp would destroy
Yes.
a kangaroo.
Kangaroos are big and they're strong, but fucking brute force of a chimp.
Yeah.
This is like some Animal Fight Club shit now we're getting into here. It's gone awry, lads. It's gone to the dogs.
Who do you think would win in a fight? A German Shepherd or a whale laid on the beach?
Now, the problem with this particular situation is this man was keeping a wild kangaroo as a fucking pet. It was a Western grey kangaroo.
I bet he won't do that again.
What?
I bet he won't do that again.
Well, he can't. He's dead.
Oh. Okay.
Now, a Western grey can weigh up to 119 pounds and they stand at about 4'3" tall. So they're not even one of the bigger boys.
190 pounds?
19.
119?
Yeah.
I've had bigger shits.
But this is what I'm saying. It's not even one of the bigger lads out of the kangaroos.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? And he still killed this man.
What's a big one?
So red kangaroos.
Yeah.
I think I have a little bit about Roger I will get into because he was a big lad. I think they can be up to 8 foot tall.
I bet you don't see one 8 foot.
I'm guessing that is not the average.
Guinness Book of Records shit, that.
So the other death that we're going to talk about was in 1936. William Cruikshank was viciously attacked by a kangaroo after he had attempted to rescue his 2 dogs from the half-man, half-rabbit creature.
Half man, half rabbit.
How would you describe it? That is all I
It's a
see.
fucking kangaroo.
Okay, from the kangaroo. But that is all I see when I look at these animals. Can you not see it?
See, this is what I'm saying about kangaroo going for a dog. Yeah? You're there saying at the start of this, you were like, Neil, but why do you want to fight?
No, but this is...
If a kangaroo got older Norman, are you telling me you just stand there and watch?
Box the head off it.
Would you?
No, probably not. I don't know what I'd do. I'd stand there like weeping and soiling myself. I don't know what I would do.
See, I would beat the shit out of that kangaroo. Proudly.
That does upset me. Because this man was just trying to save his dogs. Because it was this fucking kangaroo who was starting the shit.
Yeah.
He was trying to rescue them.
Well, you don't know. The dogs might have started it.
No, they absolutely didn't. They're angels.
Yeah, okay. But, don't you remember that video of a kangaroo? It got a dog in a headlock.
Yes, no, I can't.
So the guy ran over and fucking...
I don't even like watching it. It upsets me. I don't like it, right? So, because the dog is there, like you said, in the headlock, and I'm like, oh, the poor little baby. And then even when your man runs over and like fucking hits him a box in the snot, I'm like, yeah. But then I still look at the kangaroo's face. And I'm like, oh, like he's an animal getting hit in the snot.
Yeah.
I don't like that either.
It's just part circle of life, isn't it?
Anyway, William was left with extensive head injuries, including a broken jaw, and he would die in hospital following the attack. Broke his fucking jaw, Neil.
It's them back legs.
Yeah. Powerful bastards.
Yeah.
So, kangaroos, yes, they are mad bastards. Even Roger, who we mentioned earlier, his owner/carer, who obviously loved and cared about him, said that he was a right little shit.
Mm.
He was actually rescued by a man named Chris Barnes. He had found Roger still inside his mother's pouch after she had died.
See, I heard that was a rumour. I thought, or a rumour or a myth, but kangaroos don't get in the pouch.
No, they do. They grow in there.
I got told they don't.
What do you mean they don't?
I got told that was a myth. But kangaroos don't actually use the pouch.
What the hell's it there for then?
A pocket.
No, they...
Put the food there.
Kangaroos grow, like they develop in the pouch as well.
Yeah, but they don't like hop about. Once they're older, they don't like hop about and then hop back into the pouch.
I don't know how it works. I tend to stay away from the fuckers.
I'm pretty sure that's the bit what people say is a myth.
No, but they do develop in the pouch.
Yeah, but once they're developed and they're
but we
hopping
don't
about
know if
by
he was
themselves.
developed. We don't know. He was still a baby at the time when he was rescued.
No, I'm not saying this is bullshit.
Okay.
I'm saying, but I've heard, but once a kangaroo's grown and it's hopping about.
Yeah, they don't just hang out in there.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Like you see it in cartoons, they hop back and just hop back into the pouch.
I was remiss. As a kangaroo expert, I'm remiss. I do not know about that. I will get back to you. That is sad though, isn't it?
Which bit?
The mother had died and he was still in the pouch. And,
Yeah.
You know. Now, like I said, Roger, he's a big boy. 6'7" and 200 pounds.
Okay.
What do you mean, okay? That is big.
Like, the 6'7".
Yeah.
Right. 200 pounds.
He's a tank.
200 pounds. It's got some mass, but there's much bigger animals out there.
This prick is 200 pounds of fucking muscle.
And then 6'7". Once I give him one smack, he's going to go down to like 5'6".
Well, his owner, Chris, is covered in scars from Roger. And he has said that, quote, he's just a fighter. If he grabs you, he doesn't let go. You can't get out easily. It's a chokehold. As for a well-placed kick, it can disembowel you. Now, what the fuck?
Yeah, so, right. My only condition, if you're going to make me fight a kangaroo, I need a cup.
A cup?
Yes. To protect my manhood.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that fight won't last longer than 8 seconds.
Yeah, but a cup is not going to protect you from being disemboweled.
No.
No.
But I'll feel my...
Never mind your fucking intestines. As long as me bollocks is intact, it's fucking all right. My God. Now, I do have some sad news. Pour one out, because Roger actually passed away in 2018.
Okay. But apparently you were a fucking jackass.
He was, but he was Chris's jackass. Do you know what I mean? He loved him still.
Yeah.
And like he knew, you know, as much as he cared about him, he's a fucking kangaroo. He's a wild animal.
Yeah.
Like kangaroos should never be pets. Do you know what I mean?
Just before we end this, I don't condone animal violence at all. I'm just saying, I know I could.
If push came to shove,
I would knock a kangaroo out. That doesn't mean next time we go to the zoo, I'm going to be gloved up looking like, go ahead.
We don't have any kangaroos at the zoo. Do we?
I don't know.
I don't think we do. I couldn't, because I wouldn't be even going into that zoo because for fear that one escapes.
Straight to chimps and orangutans and gorillas.
Well, remember, I was at the zoo one time and a red panda got out.
Yeah.
But that was exciting because they're cute as shit. So to finish with, like I said, pouring out for Roger. And in his memory, Tourism Australia called Roger, quote, a true icon. He was, wasn't he? We all heard about Roger, did we not?
Yeah.
I heard about him. You heard about him. I'm sure some of the listeners heard about him.
Yeah. I didn't know his name was Roger.
Well, it's
I just
Roger.
remember seeing a picture of a kangaroo on steroids.
When I first saw the picture, I thought it was edited. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was taking the piss out of how big they are. No, he looks like that.
Yeah.
Did. Was.
Yeah. No. Like, I just want to repeat myself. I do not condone animal violence.
Mm-hmm.
But I would.
Thank you so much for listening. Find us on Patreon, TikTok, Facebook and Instagram. If you have a case suggestion or maybe even your own story, email us at mortalmusingspodcast@gmail.com.